Thank you. Reason number 1. The Avengers movies have a scene where their headquarters gets destroyed, and the Avengers are too weak to prevent it. Hulk destroys the Sanctum, and I'm not even sure it ever got fixed back. Wakanda is destroyed and looks like a third world country after the battle. The Avengers facility in Endgame is obliterated, and the Avengers tower gets messed up so bad, Tony and the team have to move instead of paying for the repairs. The helicarrier gets attacked, but the Avengers work together to get it back in the air. Reason number 2. The minions in the other movies are meaningless. Thanos' 2014 minions are forgettable, and the only cool one doesn't really count since she switched sides. The Ultron clones are so lame and run away from the fight most of the movie. Ebony Maw had potential, but all the children of Thanos end up being whacked too. Ebony Maw and Cole Obsidian died off some BS, and the rest of them died by their own weapons, which shows how dumb they are. The Chitauri are lame, but Loki, who is considered a minion for the other, is currently the MCU's best henchman to date. Reason number 3. They established certain things about the heroes in the early films, and only 2012 Avengers keeps those elements consistent. Pepper Potts is a workaholic and a hypocrite. She's always working and blames Tony for doing the same. Her decision making is questionable, and I think they named her Pepper Potts because she thinks like she's high most of the time. In Endgame, she's annoying because she keeps forcing Tony to hang up the cape, even when he has the chance to bring back trillions of people that were killed. In Infinity War, she reminds Tony their wedding date is more important than keeping them safe, so the until death do them part moment doesn't come sooner than expected. She wasn't in Age of Ultron because she was working, and Tony's cool with it. Yet she breaks up with Tony on the next movie when he's working overtime. She's annoying and selfish, but she's the most bearable in Avengers because she's the one that gives Tony the green light to join the Avengers to help save the world. Reason number 4. Black Widow don't have powers, but she's graceful and agile like a cat, so she always lands on her feet. They treat her like Steve Urkel in the other movies, and she's tripping all over the place. Reason number 5. Thor is a runner. I'm not even sure what the requirements are for being worthy, but somebody needs to check. Thor runs away from the fight in every movie. In Age of Ultron, he leaves the team hanging at Barton's house. He leaves the team hanging again to go get a weapon in Infinity War, and he leaves Rocket hanging in Endgame to go get a drink. Avengers was the only movie that he was kept away from the battle, not by his choosing. He would have helped the squad if Loki didn't set him up for the okie doke. Reason number 6.
I don't like being handed things.
That's fine, because I love to be handed things.
Tony doesn't like to be handed things. This is established in Iron Man 2. He's taking handouts all over the place in the other movies. Hulk hands him some paperwork on Age of Ultron. On Endgame, he's handed food by Nebula and a briefcase by his father. Reason number 7. With Cap, he gets into a fight with Stark every movie. In the first one, they made him look less like a hater because everything mean he said was a result of the Mind Stone controlling him. And when it wears off, him and Tony are cool again. Their feud seemed petty in the other movies, and that's not something you'd expect from a super soldier. Reason number 8. We see not one, but 2 Hulk transformations in Avengers. All of these movies went on to make billions, so it's mind-boggling how Marvel was cheap with the sequels and made Banner turn into the Hulk off-screen to save money on CGI. Hulk gets disrespected more than Hawkeye in Avengers 2, 3, and 4. In part 1, he has the coolest moments and is obviously the strongest Avenger. In Age of Ultron, he's on the sideline most of the movie. In Infinity War, he's just embarrassing. And outside of him snapping in Endgame, he's useless for the entire battle. Speaking of useless characters, in Avengers, all of the Avengers have a purpose and add value to the last fight scene. Tony takes care of the nuke, Hulk cripples Loki, Thor bottlenecks the portal, Black Widow closes the portal, Hawkeye stops the Chitauri from leaving the perimeter, and he tells the whole team about their banking weakness to help them in battle. And he was the one that kept providing everyone's location on the headsets. In Age of Ultron, if you remove Hulk or War Machine from the final battle, it wouldn't have made a difference. What does Black Widow do in Infinity War? Shuri ain't do nothing but waste time. Vision should have been died, and Winter Soldier got a new arm and was chilling most of the fight. In Endgame, a lot of these characters didn't need to show up. But in this scene in particular, look at Mantis. She knows she doesn't want to be there. And you could tell because she disappears like 3 seconds afterwards. Reason number 11. Nick Fury is in every Avengers movie. For a fan favorite character, it's surprising how much Fury is disrespected in the later movies. He's hiding because of the events of Winter Soldier and can only help the Avengers in a limited capacity. He disappears in Infinity War and was Ghost during the last battle in Endgame. In Avengers, he's there the whole time and he's not taking up space. He's actually relevant. Reason number 12. I like the fact that in Avengers, the threat was out of Tony's league, and he had to team up with another smart mind to solve the puzzle. I'll give Ultron a pass because it took Tony, Banner, and Thor to make Vision. After those movies, nobody wants to work together. Tony cracked time travel by himself in Endgame, and they really trusted Shuri to fix Vision on her own. He would have been alive today if they let Banner, who couldn't even morph into the Hulk, stay behind and help Shuri, and have Wanda, who's the strongest at this point, go down and help in the battle.
Why was she up there all this time?
Reason number 13. In every Avengers movie, the heroes always catch the villains early on, and the plan backfires to where they still have to catch him again to fight him in the final showdown. I give more respect to these movies because the first time the villain's caught, it was all a part of their plan in the first place. Reason number 14. Avengers spend more time fighting each other than the actual threat. The cat fights in Age of Ultron aren't memorable, but the Hulk versus the Hulkbuster fight was epic. In Infinity War, Stark, Parker, and Strange fight the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's definitely not a top 10 moment. FYI, Drax spends the entire time fighting a cape. Cap fights himself, but the cat fight at the beginning is probably more memorable, and that's not a compliment. In Avengers, Cap versus Thor versus Iron Man is epic. Hulk versus Thor is epic. Iron Man versus Cap is epic, and the list goes on. Reason number 15. Someone always has to die to motivate the Avengers. Agent Coulson, who they had built up from Iron Man 2, and Thor, was murdered in cold blood. At that point, I knew enough about the character to care. And if I cared, the Avengers definitely cared. I barely knew this guy. Thank God when Thanos snapped. And to be honest, I don't really mess with Gamora like that. Iron Man is the MCU's most meaningful death, but at that point in the battle, his death didn't motivate anyone because the battle was already over. Reason number 16. Iron Man risks his life in every movie. This is why Cap was on that bull when he told Stark that he wasn't the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down and cut the wire, and let the other guy crawl over him. Stark and Thor stayed behind to destroy the bomb in Age of Ultron. Stark collapsed, but luckily he survived. Stark went head up with Thanos to stop him from getting the Time Stone. He got stabbed, but luckily he survived. He took the nuke into the wormhole while he was on 0% battery, and in my opinion, this was the only time Stark was prepared to die for a sacrifice. Luckily, he survived. But this time, I don't think he was trying to cut the wire. I think he was trying to lay down on the bomb. He was prepared to die in Endgame, but that says less about his heroic deed and more about the selfishness of his teammates. Captain Marvel could have done the snap. Thor could have done the snap. Doctor Strange saw this coming, and he was selfish enough to avoid trying to snap 14 million times. I love the moment, but it shouldn't have happened. Reason number 17. Every Avengers movie has an epic shot of all Avengers on screen at once. Age of Ultron tried to copy the circle shot from part 1, but couldn't. In Infinity War, they have the shot on Wakanda, except some of the cooler characters are on planet Titan and missing. Endgame has that one shot with everyone, which is cool, but even they recognize what the best shot is, which is why they recreated the circle shot from part 1 during the time travel scene. Reason number 18. Avengers always use the imaginary earpieces to communicate during battle. In part 1, it seems more believable because Barton is telling the team everything he sees, and Cap is giving them directions only after he learns their location from Barton or from the other characters themselves. Professor X, the Avengers, aren't using earpieces in the other movies. They must be using Cerebro because they know where everyone is during the battle and are giving directions when it's impossible to do that unless they know where each member is all the time. Reason number 19. A new Iron Man suit is introduced in every Avengers movie. Mark 45 is forgettable. Mark 50 is a cool suit, but it's so fake. It looks fake when he puts it on, and the magical features go against everything that makes Iron Man Iron Man. Keyword iron. This seems like a suit that Doctor Strange would wear, not something that was built. Mark 85 is beautiful, but it pales in comparison to the best suit in the franchise. With that being said, it's not even a matter of opinion. It's safe to say it's fact. Mark 7 sounds like a Bible verse, and when you compare it to 6, that's the most upgrades we've seen in a movie from one suit to another, and it looks so clean. Reason number 20. Avengers always have to fight carbon copies. I think this is always a stupid idea, but it was the least stupid in part 1. If I have to rank the copycat soldiers, I'm definitely fighting me some Ultron copies first because those are the easiest. I'll fight those barbecue outriders second because they don't have any type of common sense. The creatures in Endgame look hard, but I think the difficulty setting is on rookie because none of the heroes struggle in the fight against anybody but Thanos. The Chitauri are deep, but it's really because of their ships that they get the edge. Reason number 21. It never feels like civilians are in danger in the later Avengers movies. I don't know why the government was tripping in Civil War, because Ultron could have killed way more people. It seemed like Quicksilver was the only one who died, because most of the civilians were evacuated. I'm not including the snap, I'm just talking about the battle. But in Infinity War and Endgame, the fight is always somewhere remote, where civilians can't get injured. In Avengers, they couldn't evacuate the city, so the entire time you're watching the battle, you feel like people could die. Reason number 22. The Avengers get whooped for a couple minutes, but their X Factor always shows up in the middle to tip the scales. Vision was the X Factor in Age of Ultron. His battle interest is low-key funny, to be honest. He's holding on to Ultron's head, and it looks weird, and it's absolutely nobody's favorite moment in the MCU. I'll put money on that. Captain Marvel makes an entrance, and it's decent, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because they didn't give her a quote to go with it. She doesn't even say anything at all. Cap's the one that steals her shine. But whatever. It just isn't that epic. Thor's entrance is legendary. There's no disputing that. But when you compare it to Hulk's I'm Always Angry entrance, they set him up as a legit enforcer with that moment and line. Reason number 23. Back in the day, the Avengers used to have their own rules. This was the reason for bringing the Sokovia Accords up in the first place. They don't have to answer to anybody. They took prisoners back in 2012. After that, if they caught you, they weren't trying to use handcuffs. They were trying to kill you. Reason number 24. Next to the end credit scene from Iron Man, every other movie is fighting for second place. But between the Avengers films, the Thanos reveal set the tone for the Infinity Saga and is the most impactful end credit scene. Those are 24 reasons this movie is better. You agree? Yes, no, maybe so? If not, politely share your thoughts in the comment section below and click the subscribe button for more 24 reason videos.
Best elevator music I've ever heard.